Welcome to this webinar about studying and living liberal arts and sciences at University College Utrecht.
Hi, my name is Johan Wiersma. I'm from the Netherlands and did my high school diploma here. I'm currently a second year student at University College Utrecht and I'm studying a combination of political science, history, law, and China studies.
And my name is Kim Zwitserland. I'm one of the assistant professors here at University College Utrecht. I teach economics. I'm one of the tutors as well. What that is, we'll explain in a moment. And I'm responsible for our international student recruitment. Well, we're going to start off with a very short overview of who we are and what we offer. University College Utrecht is a part of Utrecht University. We are one of the honors colleges here. Utrecht University itself is very old. It was established in 1636. University College Utrecht is very young. We'll be turning 25 this year. We offer a degree in liberal arts and sciences, which leads to either a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. It's residential, meaning that housing is guaranteed. Students are expected to live on campus for at least the first 2 years, but if they want to stay for the third year, they can. Small scale, 750 students with on average 20 students in a classroom, and very international. About half of our students come from abroad and they represent over 70 different nationalities.
So what is the type of student that studies here at UCU? I must say that the students here tend to have a very broad academic interest. A lot of students don't necessarily know what they want to do, but there's a lot that they find interesting and there's a lot that they would like to explore. A lot of students tend to have a lot of intellectual curiosity. They listen to podcasts, they read this book, saw this TED Talk, and like to talk to other people about it and have conversations. A lot of the students here have this desire to live in an environment that's very international and diverse and maybe something different that they have experienced before. And they all have a very motivated and willing desire to make the most of their study and life. When I look at my friends all around here, they are all very socially engaged, if it is on campus through all the activities that are organized or more off-campus volunteering work. Everyone here is very committed to each other and very supportive of each other as well.
That sounds really good now. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, I mean, it does sound too good to be true, but I definitely do notice this student profile in all my friends. I see people that are all very willing to help each other, that are all engaged in all these different activities that are really shaping them as individuals. And they all have these desires and interests that all come together very nicely on this campus.
Yeah. And it is, of course, it is a very small scale community with all the ups and downs that come with that. But I do indeed recognize it. I would say our students are very curious generally, really want to make a difference in what shape or form. So if this sounds like you or if this sounds like someone you know, definitely keep on listening. So what we want to talk about today is first of all what it means to study liberal arts and sciences here, then what it means to live liberal arts and sciences here, what you can do afterwards, and of course admissions and finance. So first of all, studying at University College Utrecht. So we offer liberal arts and sciences, and that may be something you've never heard of before. The idea behind it is really very simple. Instead of studying only one thing from day one, for instance, psychology or philosophy, you combine different subjects. And that gives you a chance to explore different subjects before you commit to a direction, but it also gives you a much deeper understanding of the world. Because if you think about it, the world isn't disciplinary. If you want to understand climate change, obviously you need to know something about earth and environment studies, something about physics, biology, maybe chemistry. But if you want to address the issue, then it's useful to know something about international law, about human geography, about how people use the space they're in and how their environment influences their behavior, but also anthropology. Do people, for instance, think of human beings as part of nature, or do they see nature as something separate from human beings? Those are the kind of insights that you can get if you study a wider range of subjects, and it can actually give you a deeper understanding, and you'll make connections that you wouldn't otherwise have made. At University College Utrecht, that means that we give our students a chance to explore. In the first year, try out the subjects that you're interested in, see whether it is what you imagined it to be, whether it's a good fit for you or not. And then based on that, you can choose an academic direction in your second year. It always consists of at least 2 different subjects, that academic direction, and you could take at most a quarter of your classes in one subject. But you can combine whatever you want from the subjects that you see here. You don't do that alone though, because of course it can be very intimidating because there are so many options. And that's why every student has a personal tutor or an academic advisor who helps them figure out what classes are a good fit for them, and also what they need to graduate and what would be a good preparation for what they want to do afterwards. Now, as a tutor, I have students who have combined anthropology with linguistics and media studies. I have students who have combined physics with economics and mathematics. I have students who have combined psychology with neuroscience and linguistics. But I also have students who've done religious studies with economics or a pre-med program with performing arts. It's really up to the student to whatever it is that they want to combine. We offer a couple of special options, 2 double degrees. These are both 4 years instead of 3 years. And then you would either get a degree in liberal arts and sciences with Dutch law or a double degree with physics. We have the UCU Cultural Heritage Program, which offers internships in museums, including, for instance, the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, as well as the Rijksmuseum. An entrepreneurship minor, if you're interested in starting your own company. A pre-med program, if you would like to become a doctor in the Netherlands. UCU in East Africa, which includes a field course in Africa and Tanzania, as well as internships in Kenya or Tanzania. Sustainability courses, a field research program in Aruba where you would go to collect data for your research thesis in the spring, in January more or less. Very attractive if considering the weather in the Netherlands in January. You can do a research assistantship and you can go abroad for a semester. And we have over 50 partner universities worldwide. Our biggest exchange partner is the University of California. So you could go to Berkeley or San Diego, but you could also go to Canada, Peru, Australia, South Korea, Singapore, India, Morocco, anywhere in Europe. And the nice thing is that you would pay the Dutch tuition fee. So you would pay the tuition fee you are paying University College Utrecht, not the tuition fee from the university you're going to. Are any of your friends on exchange?
Yeah, quite a few. It's very common, actually. One of my close friends is currently in South Korea, studying in Yonsei University. Yeah. And then I have a friend who is in Japan, quite a few that went to California. I have friends that are studying in Chile, which is a destination that you can also go to, which is a part of the University Utrecht destinations. And also a friend in Canada.
Nice.
Very exciting. Well, the classrooms at UCU, the setting in here is quite different relative to how the classrooms are set up at the University of Utrecht. So classrooms here tend to have only an average of about 20 students. This leads to very engaged conversations, and it's very different than a lecture where there's one professor talking to you for an hour and a half. Here it is definitely focused on these conversations, and it's very interactive. And what this also means is that students are assessed continuously throughout the semester. So you will have assignments such as presentations or essays or group work to do all throughout the semester at different times for your courses. On average, you have about 14 and a half hours of class per week as you're taking 4 courses. And this is really the basis of the education in our classrooms.
Yeah, so it's really like we don't have any mass lectures as some other programs may have. But we only have those small classes. So our other programs may be a combination of the two. For us, it's only the small classes. Now, in order to graduate, of course, you do need to meet certain requirements. If you want to do sciences, you'll need to go into the lab. If you want to do social science, you'll need to have an understanding of statistics. For humanities, you'll need discourse analysis and logic. We also ask our students do at least one other language, a language and culture course. It can be French, Spanish, Italian, German, Chinese, sign language, Arabic, Latin, but it can also be Dutch if you are from outside of the Netherlands. The other thing is, because it is liberal arts and sciences, we do expect all students to take at least 1 class in science, 1 class in social science, and 1 class in humanities. It's only 1 class, but we do want everyone to have had, who have been exposed to those different ways of thinking. And we do have classes that are particular for students that may not necessarily be into that direction. So for instance, for the sciences, we offer a class called Mathematics for Poets. As mentioned earlier, every student gets a personal tutor who helps them find their academic direction. We have fellows in each discipline, in each subject, meaning that they can help you out with finding a master program, giving you advice about how to prepare for those, helping you find a research supervisor. A Writing and Skills Center, where you can get help with statistics, writing essays, presentation skills, things like that. and a future center where you can get help with applying for jobs, writing a resume, preparing you for an interview, everything to do with your future. Now, the curriculum itself, it's a 3-year program. And in the first year, it's very simple. Explore. Try out the different subjects that we have available to see what really is a good fit for you. And in that first year, we do also expect students to take 1 science class, 1 social science class, or 1 humanities class. It's only in the first year. From the second year onwards, that's when students start to focus. That's when they declare a major, and a major will always be at least 2 different fields. And that's where you start to specialize. And in the third year, that's when you really focus on that major and also when you write an individual research thesis. Now that may sound a little vague, so we have 2 examples from you here from curriculum to give you a bit of an idea of what that would look like in practice. Obviously, these 2 examples don't cover the whole range of what you could do here, so definitely check out our website. If you're interested in a different subject from those mentioned here, it may very well be available on our website. So the first one is from one of my tutees, Carl Ras. He graduated in 2018, and he's one of the students that came in and knew exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to continue with neuroscience later on. And you can see that already in his first year. There are neuroscience classes, chemistry, calculus, which is a requirement for science, history and philosophy of science. He took philosophy as a humanities class, economics as a social science class, and then in the summer he took lab courses. In his second year, there's more neuroscience, imaging human brain functions and spatial cognition, more biology, molecular cell biology, biochemistry, embryonic development, Dutch for his language requirements, and in the summer he did an internship in a lab working on neuroscience. In his third year, he went on exchange. He went to the University of California in San Diego. He took classes there in cellular neurobiology, my apologies, data analysis and modeling, economics, philosophy and logic. And then when he came back, he focused on methodology, biostatistics, structural equation modeling, as well as a really nice class called Evolution, Culture and Human Nature, which is an interdisciplinary class about the subject of evolution, but looking at it from a biological, philosophical, psychological, and other perspectives. His thesis was, not surprisingly, in neuroscience. He went to Oxford afterwards for a master program in psychological research, and he's currently finishing his PhD in cognitive science at MIT.
And then now for my curriculum, I'm currently in my 4th semester, so some of it is a bit speculative and prospective, but in my first year, I very much did explore my academic interests. I honestly just chose the courses that sounded interesting, and this led to me taking courses in a lot of different disciplines. I already started focusing a bit on history by taking a Nazi Germany course. The course you see, Research in Context, which you also saw in Gal's curriculum, is the only mandatory course at UCU all students take. It's a course that brings everyone up to speed about a basic methodology and how to give presentations, etc., to form a basis for everyone. In my first year, I also took courses in the field of psychology and anthropology, which I did not do a lot more with later on, but it was very enjoyable to be able to have the opportunity to take these courses. My breadth requirement consisted of cognitive neuroscience, as I'm not the biggest fan of science, but I must say it was a very enjoyable course and I learned a lot from it as well. In my second year, I started focusing a bit more. I figured out the disciplines I was mostly interested in, leading me to take courses in political science and in history a bit more. I also took a course that was called psychopathology, which is not necessarily related to the other courses in my curriculum. It was more of an elective course, but also very enjoyable to be able to have this course in my curriculum. And then in my 4th semester, which I just finished, I took international relations. I finished my history track by taking the course Transitional Justice. I took a course in Encountering China, and I did my language. At UCU, you can also do courses in a summer term, which is a period of about 4 weeks, and I took the course Understanding Conflict. Now for my next year, which is the plan, I will finish my political science, I will study a bit more law, and I will take some courses that will mostly look at China studies as well in my 5th semester. And then for my last semester, I will take some interdisciplinary courses about citizenship, difference, and the politics of belonging, which I'm very much looking forward to. I will finish my law track with human rights and write my thesis. I'm not completely sure, but my idea right now to write a thesis would be to write it in the field of transitional justice and to talk about a new research report which was funded by the Dutch government about what had happened in Indonesia during the colonial war of independence, and to see how this could be seen in a framework that is similar to the history of it. So very exciting, looking forward to that as well.
Sounds very cool.
Yeah. So at UCU, you do not only study liberal arts and sciences, you also live it. So this is very much a part of the educational philosophy of University College Utrecht. And I must say that also beyond the classroom, I learned a lot more than I would have expected when I came here. Living with students from all over the world that have all these different experiences, that are studying all these different fields, brings very interesting, fruitful conversations about many, many topics, as everyone is very interested in current affairs. And I think I can best explain this with an example. As last week I had dinner with a friend of mine from Italy. He's studying human geography and sustainability in political science. And a friend of ours walked in, and she is studying mostly law at UCU and is very interested in environmental law. And we had a conversation about environmental law, about sustainable development goals, while my Italian friend, I don't know how he does it, but he is always able to cook up the best dishes. He made some risotto because it's from his region, which is ingredients that he found in my fridge. I wish I could also cook like that, honestly. Yeah, that's a big gift, honestly. But yeah, you have these moments all throughout your day, every day, and that's what makes living at UCU this incredible experience. On campus, you are guaranteed housing, which is not necessarily similar to other programs at the Utrecht University.
The Netherlands,
or the Netherlands, definitely. So this is very, very important, and every student is given the opportunity to live in a single room that are furnished, and students tend to share an apartment with about 4 to 12 others from all the different years, countries, and genders. It's all mixed, and every year mixed again. So you never live with the same people for more than 1 year, which makes it a very interesting time as well. On the YouTube of University College Utrecht, you can find a campus tour video of how the campus looks, the different buildings, and some ideas of how these different rooms look. And you can see in these pictures as well, on the top, a picture of someone's single room, and then on the bottom, someone's living room. Very important is as well that this campus is located only 10 minutes away from the city center by bike, because that's the mode of transport here. We measure everything with bikes.
Yes.
And this means that we live in a residential neighborhood, and there's a forest about 10 minutes away with a river you can bike to. It's very conveniently located for anything you would like to do, honestly. On campus, there is a wide variety of events that are organized by over 40 committees. The committees are student-led, and all events are hosted in English. These are some examples of all the events, but there's honestly too many to name. There are workshops about mental health organized by the peer support team and the well-being team at UCU. There's a lot of sports events. There's a Hermes committee that organizes football and also football competitions. There's laser tag events in the academic buildings happening.
That was hilarious.
It was very fun, very fun. A Kazerne run, as the campus was, it used to be a military base, and we are still located besides a military base. And the military base was kind enough to open its grounds for us to have this campus run over the military base as well. There's a lot of arts options as well. There's an arts committee that has open hours where you can just enjoy crafts and arts. There's a music committee that organizes a classical campus concert every year, which I also participated in this year. It was very, very fun. Personally, I am a member of Politics Co, which is a bit more of an academic committee. And in April, we organized an excursion in collaboration with the History Committee to Brussels, where in the morning we visited a few alumni from UCU that are working in the European Commission. And then in the afternoon, we visited in the museum in Brussels. The city of Utrecht is located very centrally in the Netherlands. It's on only about 30 minutes from Amsterdam, The Hague, and Rotterdam, by train, by car, by any transport, except bike in this case.
Or on foot, yeah, that might take you a bit longer.
Yeah. It's a relatively big city, very, very much based around students. It's around 900 years old at this point, and there will be big festivals organized this year to celebrate as well. A large portion of the population are students that live all around the city, and it is a very lively cultural city as well. Last week, for example, I went to a park that's my favorite park to go to, and there was this food festival. These trucks were there. with food from all over the world. It was very enjoyable. Went with some friends,
Yeah.
had a very good time. But I must say that there's a lot more events like this
Mm.
happening every day
Yeah.
that you can attend. Maybe you have your favorite festival that you would like to
Yeah.
share.
Utrecht is one of the UNESCO cities of literature. And for that reason, we also have an international literature festival, which always has quite big names to come by. So we had Margaret Atwood a couple of years ago, Isabel Allende, Chimamanda, just a lot of really great authors. So if you're into reading, it's a great city for that. So I personally really like that. So what can you do afterwards? Well, after University College Utrecht, if you have a European passport, you can simply stay in the Netherlands, no further questions asked. If you have a non-European passport, you can get a visa from the Dutch government, a so-called orientation year. And that means that you basically can stay in the Netherlands for that year to find a job, to do an internship, to basically get settled. And you can apply for that within 3 years after graduation. Almost all of our graduates do go on to a master program. A little over half stays in the Netherlands, the other half goes abroad. Fun fact, the ones that stay in the Netherlands tend to be the international students. The ones that go abroad tend to be the Dutch students. And in the Netherlands, we've had students go to Utrecht, Amsterdam, Maastricht. Abroad, many go to the UK, to London, to Cambridge, to Oxford. And there's always a handful that goes to the US as well. In terms of what they study, well, as you can tell, the curriculum itself is very broad. So that's the same thing applies to the master programs. Some will do a science master program, some humanities, some social science. Similarly for their careers, where do they work? If I look at my own students, the ones whose tutors I've been, one is a gynecologist now, another one is a theoretical physicist, someone continued in logistics, there are people who work for the ministries in the Netherlands as policy advisors, whole wide range of subjects. The only thing that really stands out is that about a quarter of our alumni continues in teaching and research. And that makes sense. We're looking for students who are curious, who like knowledge. So a lot of them will make that their career. Fees and finances, not unimportant. These are the fees and finances for the academic year 2022-2023. The amounts I'm going to show you are for everything except for your meals. So, and of course, if you want to go out or if you want to go traveling, that isn't included either. But then you're looking at about 947 euros for a European student, and that's really determined by your passport. It's both EU as well as European Economic Area. If you're wondering which one of the two you are, there's a list on our website. For non-European students, you're looking at about 1750 per month, and that is composed as follows. The tuition fee is 4,500 euros per year with a discount for the first year if you're a European student. For non-European students, you're looking at 14,000 plus, of course, the cost for the visa. This year it was about 250 euros, but it goes up and down a little bit every year. Housing is guaranteed and therefore also needs to be paid for, of course, and the price for a furnished room is 6,700 euros, and this includes basically everything, your electricity bill, your internet bill, use of the laundry facilities, the gym, everything. And then there's membership of the student association. And for total per year, you're looking then at 11,500 for European students and 21,000 for non-European students. But again, that includes almost everything except for your meals. You can pay in installments. Exception is that if you have a visa, so if you have a non-European passport, in your first year you do need to pay everything up front, but your second and third year you can pay in parts. If you have a European passport, you can get a tuition fee loan from the Dutch government. We have need-based scholarships. They're mostly partial scholarships. We only have 1 or 2 full rides every year. And the scholarships are open to everyone, Dutch students, international students, doesn't matter. A student aid fund that you can apply to during the semester. If you have an American passport, you can use the FAFSA loans. And of course, you can also work next to your studies. Now, to come back to the beginning where we started, what kind of student are we looking for? We're looking for students with a broad academic interest, who want to study different things, who are curious, who want to live in a diverse international environment, who are motivated. This is an honors college, so we are looking for students that are willing to put in the hours, because the workload can be quite a bit higher than it would be for other programs. And students are socially engaged, and that's what we want to see in your application. You would first register in StudyLink, and then you would continue your application on our website in Osiris. What we would need from you is a statement of academic motivation explaining what you want to study and why here. An activities form, basically what do you do when you're not at school. Your most recent grade transcript, or if you already have it, your diploma. proof of English proficiency if this is needed. You can find on our website if that's something you need to provide or not, as well as a recommendation letter, and that can be submitted by your referee directly. Based on that, you may be invited for an interview, and based on the interview, you may be invited to attend. And this year we had about 1,250 applicants for 250 places. The interview, what was that like for you?
Yeah, my interview, I remember it quite well actually. I remember being very anxious because I traveled to Utrecht and I had the interview here with the professor. And this interview, I realized quite early on actually that it was more of a
It
conversation
is
where the
very much
professor
so.
was honestly just mainly wanting to match my application with who I am as a person, whether my English proficiency matched with my application. And it was just an honest conversation about my good sides, my
Yeah.
bad sides, why I want to study at UCU, and very much stuff that I was very knowledgeable about and comfortable talking about
Yeah.
with an admissions officer.
Yeah. And it is a two-way street. It's as much for you to find out whether we are what you imagine to be and whether we are a good fit for you, as vice versa. Interviews will be online, so it will be accessible no matter where you live in the world. The diploma that we ask for, if you have a VWO diploma, we ask for an average grade of at least a 7 or an international equivalent. A levels, for instance, we ask for 2 A's and a B. For the IB diploma, we ask for 32 points without TOK and extended essay. There may be other requirements, such as specific subjects. You can find the list on our website, and we strongly encourage you to look there because that will always be the most recent, most updated information. Sometimes you will also need to provide proof of English proficiency, a TOEFL test, for instance. Whether that's the case or not, you can find in that same list on our website. Admission deadlines. If you'd like to start in September, you can either apply before December 1st. That's the deadline you need to stick to if you would like to request a scholarship. Afterwards, we do not accept scholarship applications anymore. You will then also know more or less by March. Our final deadline is February 1st, and then you will know more or less by the start of May. These exact dates may change, so definitely keep it an eye on our website. Now, if based on all of this you think, ooh, that sounds interesting, do come and visit us. We have open days in March and November. You can also visit our campus throughout the year. There are different times of the year that is possible. There's a campus tour video on YouTube, as well as online events, of course, on social media and webinars. So yeah, we hope that you found it useful.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you at UCU.
Exactly. Bye.